I want at this point to make a very personal statement. I don't often make this kind of statement. I feel constrained to make it at this moment. I have to perform this evening what is to me a most distasteful task. I would much prefer not to do it. Well, why am I doing it? Well, I'll tell you why. Let me put it in the form of a question. Why do you think I'm preaching on this second chapter of this book of the prophet Jeremiah? Here's the 5th Sunday night we've been looking at this chapter. Why am I doing so? You know, my friends, there's only one reason for that. I tell you the thing in the presence of God. And God sees and knows my heart and yours, and He knows all about us. I have only one reason for calling attention to this particular chapter, that I verily believe that God has called me to do so. I don't know whether you know anything about preaching and about preparing sermons. I stand in this pulpit generally some 42 or 43 Sundays every year and preach twice every Sunday. And you know, there are times when I have to find my own texts, as it were. Or I expound through a book of the Scriptures, and that is a part of my calling. I'm being called to expound and to teach the Scriptures. But you know, there are times when something remarkable happens. When a man just finds that he is given a message. He hasn't been seeking it, but it's given to him. And I am here tonight, and I'm preaching on this 8th verse in this 2nd chapter of Jeremiah, because this was given to me. Not only this verse, the whole thing was given to me. You know, sometimes a man has to work very hard to find a sermon. I want to tell you that I have received all the sermons I've preached hitherto on this chapter as a gift from God. I've never had less work to do. They were opened out before me. In other words, I'm preaching on this verse because I dare not preach, because I dare not refuse to preach on it. I am conscious of this sense of compulsion. Now, I'm saying this by way of personal explanation. It's a very distasteful thing. I confess that I'm weak enough and fallible and sinful enough to wish in a way that I wasn't doing what I'm going to do tonight. But you see, that's not the business of a preacher. He is not to do what he wants to do or what he likes to do. He is to do what God calls upon him to do. I've got one great comfort. Jeremiah himself felt exactly as I feel. Listen to him in the 15th chapter saying this in verse 10. Woe is me, my mother, that thou hast borne me, a man of strife and of contention to the whole earth. I have neither lent on usury, nor men have lent to me on usury, yet every one of them doth curse me. And he repeats it again in the 20th chapter in the 10th verse. Let me read that to you. For I heard the defaming of many, fear on every side. Report, they say, and we will report it. All my familiars watched for my halting, saying, peradventure he will be enticed, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall take our revenge on him. Jeremiah didn't want to preach the message that God had given to him. Indeed, he tells us in that 15th chapter that he decided not to speak anymore. He said, the more I speak, the more I get into trouble. Everybody's against me. I seem to be a lone voice, and I'm in great trouble. I wish at times that I'd never been born at all. Why should I have to be saying something unpalatable and unpleasant while everybody else is saying something that is quite different? He decided he'd never speak again. But he said the word of God began to burn as a fire in his bones, and he had to speak.